Welcome to Rise Untold, where the stories behind the spotlight come alive. For years, the world watched Johnny Depp and Amber Heard's names dominate headlines. Their love story turned courtroom drama, their private battles laid bare for the public to dissect. The trial was one of the most explosive in Hollywood history, leaving scars on both sides. But just when many thought the saga had gone quiet, Johnny Depp has stepped forward with something no one expected. A reveal that's left Amber Heard and the world stunned. This isn't about another lawsuit or a fiery interview. No, Depp's reveal cuts deeper. It's about truth, healing, and reclaiming what was nearly lost. For years, his reputation carried the weight of whispers and accusations. Studios turned their backs. Roles vanished. A man who once commanded the big screen was suddenly seen as a fallen star. And yet, through the fire, Johnny refused to be defined by the storm around him. Now, he's chosen to speak, but not with anger, not with bitterness. Instead, with something far more powerful. In a recent sit-down, Johnny unveiled never-before-seen details about what he endured in silence. He spoke of nights where sleep never came, of questioning his own worth, of fighting not just Amber's accusations, but the crushing weight of the world's judgment. And then came the reveal that silenced even his harshest critics. Johnny confirmed that during the darkest days of the trial, he was secretly working on a deeply personal project, a body of work filled with music, art, and writings never meant for the public. Pages and melodies that captured his despair, his hope, his love for his children, and his dream of rising again. He revealed this collection isn't about profit. It isn't about revenge. It's about leaving behind proof of his soul, a soul battered, but never broken. Amber Heard, sources say, was caught completely off guard by this revelation. For years, she controlled much of the narrative. Now, Johnny's raw honesty threatens to shift the spotlight once more. Because this isn't a courtroom. This isn't about evidence or lawyers. This is about a man standing unfiltered, finally, opening the door to his pain and resilience. The impact has been immediate. Fans around the world have flooded social media with messages of support. People who once doubted him are now asking if they misjudged the man behind the scandals. Even Hollywood, once hesitant to touch his name, is quietly taking notice. Rumors, swirl of new projects, fresh opportunities, and even reconciliations with studios that once cut ties. But perhaps the most shocking part of Depp's reveal is not what it means for Amber Heard, but what it means for himself. For the first time, Johnny isn't chasing roles or headlines. He's chasing peace. He told the world, they can strip you of everything, but they can't strip you of who you truly are. And that message has landed like thunder. Because this story was never just about a toxic marriage or a public trial. It was never just about tabloid headlines or endless social media wars. Beneath all of it, this has always been about something larger, survival. It's about how a man, written off by many, pushed to the edge of his career and dignity, found a way to rise not with bitterness, but with creation. That is the shock. That is the reveal Amber never saw coming. For years, Amber Heard seemed to have control of the narrative. She gave interviews, she wrote op-eds, she stood as the voice of pain in a world eager to believe. And Johnny Depp, the once untouchable star of Hollywood blockbusters, seemed cornered, silenced, and left for dead in the court of public opinion. But today, the world is beginning to see something different. The man who had every reason to disappear has returned, not to fight fire with fire, but to tell his truth in a language no one can twist. Art, honesty, and raw vulnerability to Johnny's reveal wasn't delivered with courtroom theatrics or flashy press statements. Instead, it came quietly, intimately. He opened up about the scars he carried. Not just the physical ones people whispered about during the trial, but the ones carved deep into his spirit. Nights when he questioned whether life was worth living. Days when he thought he had lost not only his career, but the very essence of who he was. He admitted he came close to surrendering, but something inside him refused. That something was his love for creation, for music, for storytelling, for the children who still look at him not as the tabloid character the world created, but as their father. And so, instead of letting his pain consume him, he turned it into pages, into paintings, into songs. He poured everything the world didn't see into a collection that, until now, no one knew existed. When Depp revealed this project, the air shifted. Because this wasn't about proving innocence anymore. This wasn't about courtroom victories. It was about a man saying, "You thought you knew my story, but here is the part you never saw." Amber Heard, according to insiders, was blindsided. For years, she painted herself as the voice of truth in their shattered relationship. But Johnny's reveal isn't about her words anymore. It's about his own. His project pulls focus away from the legal battles and puts the spotlight on his inner world, showing the kind of strength that can't be cross-examined or fact-checked. Because pain expressed through art doesn't ask for approval. It just exists, undeniable, in its raw form. And that's why the impact has been so powerful. Fans across the globe have flooded online spaces, not just to cheer for Johnny, but to share their own stories of survival. People who faced false accusations. People who were broken by toxic relationships. People who thought they would never recover, but found strength in the idea that even someone like Depp, a man with everything to lose, refused to stay silent. Hollywood, too, has begun to stir. For a long time, the industry kept its distance. Studio heads whispered about his unmarketability. Investors flinched at his name, and projects that once relied on his stardom suddenly vanished. But now, quiet talks are happening. Executives are realizing something the public already knows. Johnny Depp isn't finished. He may have been bruised, but his star power is still alive. His new reveal has sparked rumors of collaborations, films, and music ventures waiting to take shape. But the real shock is this. Johnny Depp doesn't seem to care about the spotlight anymore. He isn't chasing the billion-dollar box office or the flashing cameras. His reveal shows a man chasing something far greater: peace. He wants to be remembered not for the headlines that nearly destroyed him, but for the way he turned pain into something beautiful. That choice alone makes his reveal even more stunning. Because it's easy to fight with anger. It's harder, infinitely harder, to respond with creation, and that choice has left Amber Heard with no easy response. She can deny accusations, she can defend her side, but how do you argue with a man's soul bared on canvas and in melody? How do you fight someone who no longer seeks to win, but to heal? For the first time, Johnny has shifted the story away from her and placed it firmly back on himself. This time, he is not the accused. He is the storyteller. But this moment isn't just about Hollywood or about Amber and Johnny. It's about all of us. Because at its core, this story is a mirror. It shows how easily the world can turn on someone, how quickly society can decide who is guilty and who is innocent. It reminds us that no matter how loud the crowd gets, every person has an inner truth no one else can erase. Johnny Depp's story reminds us that resilience isn't loud. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it's found in a man picking up a guitar when the world won't give him a stage. Sometimes it's in the pages of a journal no one was meant to read. And sometimes it's in the courage to share those pieces with a world that tried to destroy you. Even now, people argue about who was right, who was wrong, who deserves forgiveness. But maybe that isn't the point anymore. Maybe the point is that life will break you. People will betray you. The world may even laugh as you fall. But in the end, the question is simple. Will you rise? That is the heart of Depp's reveal. Not anger, not revenge, not victory, but the decision to rise. And so, when the world looks at Johnny Depp today, it doesn't just see a Hollywood star. It sees a survivor. A man who has proven that you can be stripped of your reputation, your career, even your dignity, and still find a way back. A man who has shown that the pen, the brush, the guitar, and the voice are stronger than the loudest accusations. That if he could rise from this storm, maybe you can too. Maybe your story, no matter how broken, can still be rewritten. Because even when the world tries to define you by its worst chapters, you still hold the pen to write the ending. And sometimes, the most shocking reveal is not about what someone else said or did. It's about the moment you decide that your story isn't over.